Growing up in a remote Nepalese village gives me a unique perspective of what it means to be educated. It makes me realize the value of educational institutions. I didn't grow up with the schools in the village. There were only some family-run informal schools, and my father ran one of those. And actually, when I was 12, he encouraged me to leave the village to pursue my further education. So every time I think of my childhood, I think of the need to provide education, to make education as widely accessible, as freely accessible as possible. I grew up in a traditional Brahmin family where learning Vedas were part of the norm. And there were many esoteric agamas handed down in our family. Most of those things are not lived any longer. A sea change has happened in cultures. People are not aware of cultural significance of many of these esoteric practices. The agamas, 92 of them, bringing many forms of Shakta practices, the philosophy of the divine feminine. As you can see, this has the potential to change the entire world perspective. The way we have stressed on the divine feminine in the historic times, in ancient histories, it was global, it was universal, and we lost it with institutionalized religions. So I'm talking about retrieving the traces of civilization that goes millennia back, and bringing the type of philosophy that appreciates nature, bringing the type of philosophy that appreciates the feminine better, bringing the type of philosophy that appreciates our body, our physicality, our being in the world, our active engagement with the world, our enjoyment and participation, our cooperation and brotherhood, kula, a sense of deep family connection in the world. This is not just about a school. This is about teaching philosophy that we live by. Why can't a university do this? Yes, you can. It used to be, and you can make it happen. But you know what I have realized after teaching in universities, in Nepal, in America, for 3 decades, that we are only focusing on some theories. We don't want to live these ideas anymore. We are calling them ideologues. We are calling them outdated for those who try to live by the codes, the ideas. Meaning, philosophy at one time was a way of life, was meant to change our living, was meant to teach us how to live life. Today, everything is controlled by the socio-economic institutions. Our economic and political and religious realities, controlled by the institutions, have become so powerful that individuals have lost their own personal quest, personal journey towards the self-discovery, finding meaning in life, bringing harmony with nature, and appreciating our being in the world, even if it is temporary. What is Vimarsha for? It is to explore the type of texts that are forgotten. It is to explore and bring to life the type of practices that retain deeper significance in the global context. I believe if anything is valuable for one group of humanity, the entire group of humanity could find it valuable one day. We need to preserve all these forms, practices, philosophies, particularly contemplative practices, these agamas. Each and every one of them provide unique modes of yogic practices. And today we are slowly recognizing their significance. But there is so much to learn. Most of these books are not even translated, are not even edited to begin with. Why Vimarsha? There is a global need for alternative philosophies. And there is always need for free and accessible education. And my dream is to have a global home and take school to their own houses. Not that the kids would have to go to school. The school can go to their own rooms and houses, and they can learn online all these different practices, make it as accessible as possible and as freely accessible as we can, and it will change. We are trying to give philosophies that can be applied in the changing world, but without uprooting the cultural heritage of the rest of the world. We need Vimarsha because there are so many forms of practices at the threat of annihilation, and we need to conserve these practices so that the future generation can test it, can appreciate it, evaluate it. All the teachings handed down through the memories of hundreds of generations. My generation should not be responsible to completely suspend it, to break the flow of uninterrupted teachings, mostly handed down in the oral tradition, the memory from grandmother to mother to a child. I believe that we can conserve these teachings and find interested masses to learn from all these classical modes of experiences that were brought to practice by thousands and thousands of yogis and sages. Thank you.